Welcome everyone to the Miami Champions weekly game recap. My name is National Expert Steve Abrams, and I'm one of the managers of the Miami Champions, together with National Master Brian Tillis, who is going to talk to you today about the game of the week.
Welcome to the Miami Champions Week 1 Game of the Week. The game that we selected this week is between Grandmaster Alonso Zapata and Nikhil Kumar. Now, Kumar was a rock for our team in Week 1, and I expect he will be in future weeks as well. Let's go ahead and get right in. 1e4 by Grandmaster Zapata, and Kumar answered with his favorite Caro-Kann. And the game quickly goes into an exchange variation. Now, recently in Caro-Kann books, like those recommended by Lakdawala, Queen c7 has been recommended. Kumar chose a different route in the game, but the idea behind Queen c7 is to deprive White of the best square of his dark square bishop on f4. So typically White plays knight e2, you play bishop g4, and if bishop f4 is played, the trick going into this endgame, and this is a Carlsbad structure, colors reversed. So the latest fashion after bishop g4 in the database between top-rated players is castles, e6, and this position is where we've been at in theory lately. So in the game, after c3, Kumar played knight f6, and he had a different scheme of development in mind with g6. And all the moves are seemingly natural. Everyone's getting their pieces to good squares. Now, playing the Caro-Kann myself, one line that I'd seen suggested is bishop f5 here, where if White captures, you get doubled pawns, but you have much control over the center and potential for a kingside attack after king h8 and rook g8 later on. I'd seen this idea. Kumar's idea I had never seen before. e5. Now, I believe, since I was told before the game, that Mr. Kumar is working with Grandmaster of Rook, the amazing openings author from the Grandmaster Repertoire series, books 1 and 2, and recently he had come out books A1 and A2. Got to check him out because this is the type of stuff that a Rook recommends. This move has him written all over it. So after takes, knight d7, f4. When we were watching the game live, we weren't quite sure what was going on in the position. And it looks like White's doing fine. After queen b6 check, knight d4. Here's the first moment. Keep in mind that these are 15 minutes with 2-second increment games. And, I would say that it looks like we're trying to get our pawn back. Queen takes b2. But that ends in disaster very quickly because queen takes b2, knight b3. And if a normal move like b6, for instance, rook f2 just simply traps the queen. So black's got to find active compensation in another way. Knight c5. 1, getting the knight out of the way so the light square bishop can develop, and 2, attacking the bishop and key squares. Rook f2, defending the pawn. f6, again, trying to unleash the dark square bishop and get as much activity as possible, as fast as possible. After knight a3, you see, even though White's got a pawn in hand, all of his pieces seem awkward. White does have some potential for a kingside attack, but with the knight on a3, the only good piece he has is the knight on d4. So, it's chopped. And after takes, knight e6. Now, the pressure on the weak d4 and f4 pawns is compensation in combination with White's lack of coordination. So now after knight c2, this is where I'm extremely impressed in the fast time controls with Kumar's evaluation here, because I would probably just play rook takes f4 here, but he goes directly into these nasty tactics after calculating for what seemed like a minute or two in the game. So after takes, here's the key moment, because when I was evaluating this position, I couldn't find a suitable move for black. But knight e6, he finds the only move in the position. Now white has a pretty straightforward draw if he wants it here, with bishop h5, and after takes, there's tactics for black, but the game quickly peters out to a draw, and we see this variation where the exact symmetrical pawn structure and pieces can lead to shaking hands very quickly. But in the game, Grandmaster Zapata decided to mix it up, and he played bishop takes h7 check. And there is no perpetual here. But white has really no weaknesses in the position, and he can play on as the phalanx of pawns on the king side are going to march forward. So after knight b4, the d pawn is weak. Bishop b6, g4, rook fd8. Pass pawns must be pushed. You got to work with the only advantage that you have in the position, because the extra piece isn't helping that much right now. Rook d1, getting ready to blockade the pawn, maneuvering the poor piece around. And after g5, this is a key moment in the game. This was, in my opinion, the only real inaccuracy that Mr. Kumar had. He decides to play rook a4 in the position. And after a3 is seen in the game, there's only going to be a waste of time in the future to get this rook back into the game to become useful. So I much liked the move d4 here. You have to figure out a way to get counterplay. And after g6, we grab a pawn, and f6, you give back the piece with knight g7. And just to quickly go through where this line could head, it seems like white should be able to get the pawns rolling. But once black takes care of the g6 pawn, this game can be agreed drawn, because neither side is going to be able to queen their pawns. So after rook a4, a3, king g7. Now, around here, I was nervous that the game was going to be lost for black, but Mr. Kumar shows his extreme defensive chops here. Rook e8. Again, I like the move d4 because it provides counterplay. Rook e8 leads to the loss of the b7 pawn, and now we see the time waste as the rook comes back. After knight c6, knight a5. That's a lot of pawns for this kind of weird bishop on f7. But, as we'll see, black has resources in the position to hold. Rook e5, bishop g6, blockading to slow down the pawns. Check. With tempo, hitting the rook. Now, every move looking for tactics. If white becomes overzealous here and plays g6, black has rook takes f6, where if rook takes, the king will take the rook. So rook c7, getting ready to push the pawns, attacking a weakness, check. Blockading. And black is just in time to be able to blockade all of the passers. And I'm going through the moves quickly here, as the only thing of note is anytime the bishop is attacked, notice the excellent technique in keeping the bishop flexible, giving as many options as possible. And there's really just no way to make progress in this game. So the players played a few more moves, and a draw was agreed.
Here are the standings of the Atlantic Blue Division after Week 1 of the Pro Chess League. Thank you guys for tuning in today and hope to see you next week.
For more information, you can check out the links to follow us on social media and all the happenings for the Miami Champions team.